Hey folks, we are continuing on with our conflict resolution series. We're going to start going through each one of the temperaments and where they might struggle with pace.
Yes. So stick around. We're starting with the choleric.
See you guys in there. Hey folks, welcome back to the Catholic Coaching Podcast. My name is Matt.
And I'm Erin.
And we're continuing on with our conflict resolution series we have. And so we talked about pace in the last couple of episodes. We want to pause. We want to assume goodwill. We want to clarify. And then we also want to engage toward unity. You can certainly look back to episodes 299 and 300 of the Catholic Coaching Podcast to get a little bit more information on those things. But today we're going to be talking about a different facet of conflict resolution because it's not always about understanding the intention of the other person. Sometimes underlying temperament has to do with this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not really about intention. It's more about just the different wiring of the other person.
The different DNA or wiring or blueprint of the person. And really what temperament measures is your disposition going into really any type of event. But specifically in conflict can be, I guess, I don't want to say we'll say highly activating to people. Mm-hmm. People will see this as a strong stimuli of some sort and they will want to react. Mm-hmm. And really that's what temperament measures is the speed and the intensity and duration of a reaction.
It's very rich with triggers. It's a trigger. Conflict is a trigger-rich environment for any temperament.
That's right.
It has a way of bringing out the worst. And so what we want to do here is, again, bring that temperament consideration into that P phase of pace, that pause where you're considering even like certainly the intention of the other person and your own intentions, but like how might wiring or temperament play into this?
Yep.
Today, we're going to be focusing on the choleric, and we're going to have an episode dedicated to each one of the temperaments and how they show up at the different phases of pace, where they are really good, but where they might struggle, and some counter strategies to be better at the end of the day here at conflict resolution. But if you're somebody that's ever showed up into a conflict and at the end of it, the other person was silent, but you felt very heard, but the conflict wasn't really resolved, you might be like me and a choleric that goes into conflict resolution by dominance, right? Mm-hmm. This is maybe perhaps a tendency here that's shows up in cholerics. I want to help you soften that a little bit here in this episode.
Yeah, this will be helpful if you have a choleric in your life, a child. Maybe you're coaching cholerics. Maybe you are doing some relationship coaching and a choleric or two cholerics are in that relationship. You can listen to this in any capacity, or you are a choleric and you're like, ha ha ha, like chuckling along because you're like, this is so me. And you can apply some of these things to your life. Yeah, so that's really, you can take this and use it in whatever capacity.
Yeah. I can remember just conflict that came up a couple of years ago in a work environment where we just didn't have the right communication and accountability system set up. And there started to just be a lot of presumption between team members. And I would own it. And I would spend a lot of my time just thinking about my other team member, having all kinds of presumptions about how he was spending his time and doing his work. And he'd be doing the same thing. But we never really came to a place of like, we never really went through the steps of pace. We got really good at winning arguments in our head.
Yeah.
I was awesome at that, but it never really walked the full step of pace. And it didn't really, I wish I would have had this back then.
Yeah. All right. So let's break down what pace is.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it.
We did. We talked about it in previous episodes, but we'll go through it again because we're going to go through each of these steps and show how the choleric shows up in this way. First one, pace. Sorry, it's an acronym. PACE. Pace. P stands for pause. A stands for assume goodwill. C stands for clarify. And then E stands for engage towards unity. And this PACE acronym helps you work through conflict resolution.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do again here today, we're going to go through each steps of PACE for the cholerics, where they might struggle, and what are some counter strategies. But Erin, can you just give us an overview for people that perhaps aren't familiar? Maybe they've never taken our temperaments assessment. It's free. It's in the show notes. You can take that right now and kind of get insights as to what your dominant temperament is. But for people to maybe self-diagnose if they might be a choleric or in conflict with a choleric.
Yes.
Tell us about the choleric.
Yeah. So descriptor word is powerful, a powerful choleric. Your reaction to stimuli, and we were talking about this earlier, is quick. So you react quickly with high intensity and a long duration. So the impressions last for long, and then you are easily re-excited into that, reaction phase. You are motivated by action-oriented, or just you are motivated by actions, by taking action, winning, completing tasks, so achieving things, accomplishing things, and then you are driven by high ideals. All right. You're most active in the reason and will when we talk about internal faculties of the mind, your reason and your will. So for you to make a decision, it has to make sense. And you got to be able to act on it right away.
Very logical.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have wills of steel. We'll just say that. Okay. Natural strengths in conflict. So you have natural strengths in conflict. And I would also say in communication, you are direct, you are decisive. You will actually address the problem rather than avoid it. You will kind of go at it head on. You are persevering and logical. If you are working with somebody who is not, or if you are in conversation or in conflict with somebody who is not choleric, they may interpret those things as aggressive or, in their face or overwhelming.
Bullish.
So, yes. So just know that about yourself. It's helpful in it. They are strengths, but sometimes they need to be tempered depending on who you're working with or in conflict with. Your primary emotions to temper is anger, hatred, and desire. And I would say desire to probably get the job done, or desire for some of those other motivations, like to take action, to win, to complete a task.
Yeah, the impulsive type of desire.
Yes.
Yeah. Something to temper.
Yes. And then your primary vices that are at risk when you're in conflict resolution is pride, precipitation, which is really acting too quickly without counsel. So just like moving right into action.
Yep.
And then pertinacity. I think I said that correctly.
You said that well.
Pertinacity, which means clinging to one's own position, right? I'm right.
I'm going to win.
I'm the right one in the room. And then anger. And anger is, we've talked about this. We've had other entire podcasts on this, but anger is an emotion, but it can also be a vice. So it can be a vice when it is being misused or overused or
not ordered towards justice.
And we have an entire podcast on that. So just write that in.
Yeah, the previous episode here, it was all about processing anger and understanding
That's
anger.
right. Oh, yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that's it.
Awesome. Pride, yeah, we already went through those things. Let's dive into the struggles that they have with pace. All right. So I'll speak for the choleric as the token choleric here in the room. Okay. So pause. It's kind of funny. Everything you were just talking about in terms of the vices, like they just want to go,
quick.
Right? And cholerics enjoy learning by doing most of the time. And so they're not worried about getting it wrong. They just want to, they'll figure it out along the way. And so that quick reaction.
Not very good at pausing?
Not very good at pausing. So by the time they arrive at that pause step, they've already rehearsed the entire conversation in their head. And that's what I was talking about with my example. Like before I even wanted to engage in a conversation, I had already presumed intention and all this kind of ill will. And I was showing up with that kind of energy.
Well, also showing up like as if it's a courtroom. And you are like the prosecuting lawyer, and like, so you're coming up with all these arguments to support your evidence too. So I think that's actually like to give people a visual of what that looks like.
Yep.
Okay.
But that also, that natural vice is the precipitation, right? Where it takes in good counsel before moving forward, or the pertinacity where it just acts, it holds on to what it perceives to be true, the perceptions. Like that was all going in here. So that inner voice also that's going on is like, this needs to be dealt with right now. Whatever this conflict is, let's just get it done, close the loop, finish it. And, that's often emergency. Like it's an emergency. It has to be dealt with right now. And so we're not going to avoid this. That's not the way that like we're going to go right into it. And so that pause can almost feel like an avoidance of the conflict.
Yeah.
And so there may be a little bit of natural resistance to it. And even that thought, like, I already know how to resolve this. I already have this solved in my head. So why even pause? Let's just get past it. That can be the struggle and the resistance behind the pause.
Yeah. Yes. But still you are sacrificing emotional regulation. You are sacrificing really like, what is your role in this? And what is that person's role in this? And like, really just like you're sacrificing clarity.
Sure.
Which the counter strategy for this, if I were coaching you as a choleric and you had this, let's just say you had the self-awareness that you had, right into arguments quickly and you don't really think things through, which is a great step.
Yep.
Good job for showing up and getting coached on this. I would remind you that some of the most effective leaders in history act from clarity and not reaction.
Yeah.
So your clarity and your pausing is strategic. It's a leverage in order for you to get the job done, in order for you to have the goal, to achieve the goal. So, and to do it from a place of steadiness and clarity. I think that's a really big piece. So
that's
using
huge.
That word clarity and using that word strategic, pause is not laziness. Pause is not you avoiding the problem. A pause is helping you regulate what's going on emotionally, but also regulate, okay, what are other denominators in this? What is your role? What is that person's role? How are we going to get to this goal together? The best way, the most efficient way.
Well, it actually allows you to step into your superpower of the logic. So in the military, we would call it a tactical pause. So you're in the midst of a combat situation, very intense, a lot of emotions flooding your system at that point. How do we take a tactical pause at that moment when the plan that we had is suddenly unraveling right in front of us?
Yes.
So just being able to step back, assess, and do it from as clean a place as possible. That's actually moving you from that fight or flight and actually getting your reason engaged, which again, superpower of the choleric. So, so if you're struggling like I do, or I used to, I don't have the same struggle as I used to. I still have that reactive tendency, but I catch it a lot more now. And I intentionally move into that pause because I just know the fruits of just running and being very impulsive. Take that tactical pause and just see it as that. Allow those emotions to kind of dissipate a little bit, especially that anger. Again, the previous episode 299, we talk about how to process through that anger so it's not muddying the waters of the rest of the pace cycle and allows you to move forward here.
Yeah, I would just say add that word tactical pause.
Yeah. I
would add that word tactical on the front end of it and be like, this is either a strategic pause, a tactical pause, a clarity pause, whatever works for you. I would just say that on the front end. And I do believe that you'll start taking a little bit of a break because now you see that this is helpful and it's actually kind of motivating to you.
Yeah. Love it.
All right.
Set the conditions to move forward, right?
Yes.
So moving forward, next thing we got is the A, assume the goodwill. Okay. So where does a cleric struggle with this? All right. So we already talked about that vice of pertinacity, where they want to hold on to whatever decisions they've already made. And so there may be a snap judgment, which clerics are quite good at, of why the person did what they did. And there's a resistance to let go of that story that we have in our minds. But again, this is part of the pace process. Again, I would even say for the clerics that are prone to the anger, listening to that episode 299 to help really work through and process through that anger is going to be so important to you being an asset to real conflict resolution here. But assuming the goodwill can be a little bit of a struggle because we have that, we're that common vice of pertinacity here.
Like,
So,
I'm right.
I'm right. You just build an airtight case before you enter into the courtroom. The person, you've already adjudicated the case, they're guilty.
Yep.
And that doesn't, when that happens, there's no ownership of
Yeah.
where you might have your work to do in the conflict resolution.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a couple ways I would take this as a counter strategy. I don't know. All right. I'll present a couple of them, but I feel like having worked with cholerics, being married to a choleric, I'm not sure if this first one will work, but it might put enough space between you and that need to, that resistance to assume goodwill and that fighting against that pertinacity.
Well, again, this is why, P comes before A. Like in that P, that pause phase, we're really working through the anger. And so when we get to the assumed goodwill, we've dealt with the anger. We've set the conditions to really hold space for a different story about the other person's intentions.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So for this one, it's what if I'm not wrong? Or, okay, what if they're just different? So you're just kind of bringing in some of the unique design.
Yeah. The temperaments,
right? So you're going, what if the way that they make their decision, I don't even know what, we could use an example argument.
I got one.
All right.
Oh gosh, you and I putting a class together.
Yes.
Can be very challenging at times. Because I'm very high in my discipline, my logic, and I want to build things very linearly. Where you're with your ideation, your creativity, you're looking at things from different angles, and you're continually perfecting things. My achiever, I want to get things done. Your ideation is continuing to work on the process, and so your ideation can be disruptive.
Yes.
I can perceive it as disruptive to the creative process of actually getting the thing done, getting the course set.
Has this helped you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's
just being like, so this is how Erin creates.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not just like, this is how Erin creates, but it's also like, how is that beautiful? How is that helpful? How is that amazing? How is that complementary? How is that making the end product even better than what it would have been had I just built it on my own?
Yeah. Great.
That has been incredibly helpful.
Another strategy I would use for if you're really stuck in that pertinacity still, if you're still like, I'm right about this, I'm right about this, I'm right about this, I'm right about this. Look at all my evidence. I'm right about this, right? A question I would ask a client would be, would you rather be right or done? Or I would find out what other motivation is behind it, right? So that's good. Moving forward, it's being more excellent, it's growth, it's impact. Would you rather be right or have a bigger impact? Would you rather be right or be more excellent in this? Would you rather be right or be done or making progress? Would you rather be right? Okay. So that's what I would find out, what actually motivates them besides being right, and hold them up next to each other.
That's awesome. Okay. So really, I like that, Erin. Thank you. I'm going to start using that.
You're welcome.
So I often want to be right,
on yourself.
But I want to be done way more than I want to be right.
That's right.
Okay. So we go to the next step in PACE. We get to clarity. And so again, this clarity step is now when we're starting to engage in conversation with the person. So P and A are done more internally, yourself. Clarity, C, we're moving into an actual dialogue with somebody. Okay. And so we're trying to get clarity on their intention at this point. And so where the choleric can struggle with this is, again, if we haven't done our work in the A phase and we haven't considered that we may be wrong in our assumptions on somebody's intentions, we might go into it even asking questions in the clarity phase that can feel very antagonistic.
Or like an interrogation.
Yes.
Like I'm already right behind this.
What were you thinking? It's like, okay, well, like you could ask that.
That's not really a question.
You can ask that in a question that's accusatory, where you have a big presumption behind it, or you can ask, hey, what were you thinking in this moment?
Yes.
Like completely different energy. And it happens from doing the work internally before you enter the conversation here in PACE. Okay. So again, this can be something where if you're not open to the perspective of the other person and really hearing it, and you haven't let go of the story that you have in your mind, the presumptive story in your mind, you're not ready to go on and to see.
I think you're also impatient to get this over with.
Yeah.
So like, Like, can you hurry up and answer that question for me? Whatever. So like it can kind of come across like that because you really are motivated by efficiency and clarity and like, let's move beyond this.
That's a good point.
So I think impatience will come out too a little bit at this phase, or maybe just be picked up on. Like the other person might pick up on it and like, whoa, okay. Like this is the first time you're even asking this of me, and maybe you don't have the answer to this
But
question.
here for a counter strategy, what I would want to coach cholerics on this is say, okay, so you're in the midst of a conflict. Do you want to revisit this conflict again in the future, or do you want to just actually get it done and give it what it needs now so you can actually grow and be better as a team moving forward and then not have to revisit this again?
Let's beat this boss.
Beat this boss. Yeah.
Let's beat
Clarity does take some focused time. And
but
this is where some great active listening skills that we teach in a lot of our courses. This can be very helpful here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I think a good counter strategy.
And I think even just prefacing one question, a specific question. Hey, when you did this, I actually interpreted it as this. That is not a fact, though. So own what is a fact or what is not a fact, because you can say things as if they're facts and they aren't. So you could be like, it's not a fact that this was why you did this. I interpreted it that way. And what did you mean by that? So now you're going into it. You're asking a specific question. You're framing it in you being possibly wrong about your interpretation. That will open somebody up right away. They'll go, oh, okay. Well, and now you get to beat this boss together. You actually can work through this together.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good for the C. Okay. Finally, we move on to this final stage in PACE, engage towards unity. And engaging towards unity is when we're starting to mend the relationship and identify what are we going to do to move forward? What are the decisions? What do we learn about one another and the intention? But how do we get that unified mission where we can move forward? Because the foundation of that good, loving relationship are two people working towards the same common good of their own free will together. Okay.
Yeah.
And so for the choleric, this question of just what is, this is also where we're getting into what's mine to own, right? This is what I'm going to do going forward.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to do going forward.
But what do you struggle with?
Well, the struggle is that there's a little bit of a bias here for, again, we can think that we're really right as cholerics and there's nothing that we need to fix. That can be a common perception of the choleric, and that all the work is on the other person. And so a choleric might enter into this engaged towards unity with like, hey, what are you going to do to fix this problem? Like, I'm good, but what are you going to do? They can have almost a blind spot to what their work is to do and make it all on the other person.
Yeah. The greatest irony here is when you blame, because that's a form of blaming, of being like, what are you going to do? Like, guess what? All of the power is in that person's hands.
So it zaps you your power, powerful cholerics.
I'm telling you, you are abdicating your superpower by saying, what are you going to do? By blaming somebody else, because you're handing over the power to change to one other person. You're not taking ownership of it. Now, if you flip the script and said, here's what I'm going to take ownership of, and here's what I'm going to change, now power's back in your hands, which is probably where it needs to be. Obviously you can ask them, hey, what would you want to take responsibility for? But you got to do that first. You got to do that work first on yourself. You have to say, what do I need to take responsibility for before I ask anybody else to take responsibility for, and approach it that way. So, hey, here's what I noticed. Here's what I observed. I was thinking this was a fact. I wasn't right about that necessarily. I want to know what your answer is to this. And then here's what I'm going to take ownership of.
Yep.
And then, do you want to meet me there? Do you want to help can you help me work towards this goal? And then they can start to think, oh, what can I take ownership of? So maybe a question that you could ask yourself, cholerics, is, how did I contribute to this escalation? How did I contribute to this conflict? How did my judgments or assumptions or my clinging to being right, like, actually contribute to this escalation. So.
Yeah. And with this, I think this is another, cholerics, we're natural leaders, right? We're not afraid of going first. Let's step into that natural superpower.
That's right.
And model to the other person what it looks like to just own what's yours.
Yeah.
There's something that's contagious about that.
It's so contagious. It really is a trickle down effect.
Yeah,
like on your team. If you are a choleric in the lead and you're taking ownership of it, it is.
Yeah. If
powerful.
you question me on that, like give it a try for yourself. I'll tell you what, it's contagious. Okay. I love this scripture here as we kind of like move into our wrap up. I love the scripture. It's a great one to meditate on for cholerics that maybe struggle with conflict resolution. It's from Philippians 2 verses 3-4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. So again, the work with pace, even especially in that A phase, that assuming goodwill, where we're starting to let go of of our own self-protection, right? Which that anger that we feel is often out of a place of a self-protection or protecting something we perceive to be that we love to be harmed, right?
Yeah.
But just really considering what is it that they're seeking? What's the good that they're seeking, maybe in missing the deadline or being presumptive or being a little bit short in their email that they sent to us? What is the good that they're seeking or the thing that they love that they're trying to protect in themselves? This is like straight up Stephen Covey, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Yeah. Like, let it be your mantra. As a cleric here.
That's actually, I think that's St. Francis, Stephen Covey.
I know it was one of his 7 principles of highly effective rebellion. Whatever. Everything's taken from Jesus. All right. At the end of the day. Okay. So Jesus probably said that at some point. Cool. Yeah, guys, like if you want to get growing some more self-awareness, episode 100 of the Catholic Coaching Podcast, we unpack quite a bit on the clerics. We have a report that you can download that is, once you take your assessment with us, we'll offer you this report. It's free. It'll give you some of those common vice patterns and superpowers that you have. Just the whole thing starts with self-awareness here. So we invite you to step off on that journey.
There's a tip that I want to give you all. If you are like, I need to start praying the litany of humility. I know a lot of clerics who have a hard time with the litany of humility. And I had this reframe in my mind because choleric is like tertiary for me, but it's close for my secondary temperament.
Oh, I've seen it come out.
Yes, and it does. It comes out and it goes toe to toe with Matt's cleric often. And I remember having this thought, okay, reading the litany of humility. First of all, the Thomistic one is way better. I think the one that Aquinas.
Oh, just wrote. I think it's like Thomistic Institute. I don't think Aquinas wrote it, but Dominicans wrote it.
The Dominicans wrote it. I love it. It's a beautiful litany of humility. So go check that out. But I remember having this thought that, I can actually enter into. I can grow in humility myself, right? I can actually acquire that virtue myself and like pray for it and ask the Lord for it, or God could just give it to me. I prefer doing it myself because I don't want to be surprised by it. Like that's my.
I don't want to be humiliated. I don't want to.
Yes, I don't want to be like. I don't want to wait for God to be like, you need some humility. Like I want to be prepared for it. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but it certainly helped me. I was
sounds very self-protective. Sounds like you might need to bring that to the Father. I'm afraid that you're gonna humiliate me, Daddy.
Yep.
Papa. Okay. Practical applications here from this. Again, if you haven't taken the temperaments assessment, that's step 1. Take it. It's free. It takes roughly 10 minutes to go through the whole thing. Finish it. Okay. Just get that self-awareness, baseline self-awareness. We have thousands of people taking it a month on our it's amazing how many people. Seeing a lot of high schoolers that have been taking it and a lot of common URLs from different high schools across the nation here. Identify that pace breaking point for you. Especially if you're a cleric listening, do a little self-diagnosis here. Where do you struggle with pace? Right.
So the pause, assuming goodwill, the clarifying, or the engaging towards unity.
Yeah.
What step?
And just finally here, just pick one, right? Maybe cleric, you want to pick them all. It's not going to be the efficient way to do it. Remember, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's a march towards sanctity, not a sprint. So just one of those counter strategies, maybe it resonated with you in the pace process here for cholerics. Pick one of those and apply it to your life. Cool.
Yep.
And if you want to really help people to really deepen into their understanding of their temperaments, you guys got to check out our identity and purpose coach training.
And I'm sorry, our certification.
The full certification.
Too.
You're a temperaments coach at the end of that thing. We have put so much unique design work into that mindset
Oh my gosh.
work.
Wait, no. You become a temperaments coach
That's what I
at
just
the
said.
end of it. Oh, okay. Oh, you did. I'm like, okay. But all these counter strategies that I was using here was all mindset. This was all mindset work. So check out all of our certifications, all of our coach trainings. In our certification, you also get identity and purpose coach training. So
yeah,
it's worth it. Go check it out.
Cool. All right. We'll see you in the next episode where we're going to be talking about the sanguines, and then we'll get into the introverts later on. You guys got to wait. Cool. All right. See you again. Hey, thanks for sticking with us in the Catholic Coaching Podcast. If you like what you heard,
Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.